Why is it not working? It was working earlier. How rude. Let me adjust that real quick. But how is everyone? Oh no, it's not even picking it up. Why? Hello? There we go. For some reason it disconnected. How fun. Millie over on YouTube says hi. Hi, how are you? Yeah, hi Angel, how are you guys? So yeah, I know streams are gonna be a little weird for a little bit, because we're currently in the state of like trying to get some compositing done. And for guess who's here early? Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys being here early. Sorry if you heard my burp. I like chowed down on something because I was hungry. Yeah, but like we're in the compositing stage right now, and so like I have to go through and I have to like composite layers and of like the different files, like the layers of animation, the layers of the background, so that you can do things like parallaxing on a background, and that's kind of where it feels more 3D-esque instead of it just being a completely flat image, as well as like needing to make sure I can get these characters out kind of properly so that they can be rendered properly. So yeah, been doing that. That takes a lot of effort and energy to do. So that's why I'm generally putting kind of the streams on the side until I can get that ready, but I really just was like, you know what, I just want to outline today, so why not outline, you know, the comic. Hi Magnus over on Twitch, how are you? And great friend Zami did some red lines on here to help kind of push the drawings, because if you, it's a little hard to see on here, but if you like look, I did like the initial kind of like sketch here, and then Zombie went through and did some red lines, and so just pretty much implementing those kind of things for this sequence, this shot, this, what would you call this, this page, I guess would be the better term, right? That is way too thin, too thick. I like inking pages, they are fun. Yeah, but Zombie's been a great help. Indeed, don't worry, get all the work done and take as much time as you need, Angel says. Thank you, Angel, I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate you guys being very understanding. Again, I'm trying not to leave you guys in the dark. It's just after a full long work day and then coming, you know, home, trying to find energy to work on things, to stream, to work on the comic, work on the animation, and it's one of those, if I can at least get the animation out of the way, then I can focus better on the comic and focus better on streaming and be able to probably do that more often, question mark, we'll see. So yeah. Magnus says, like effin' shite. I'm feeling a little better though. Drawing certainly helped me. Yeah, it's really nice how drawing can alleviate stress. So I'm glad that you found like a medium to help you. Alright, Mill, it was good seeing you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. It'll be nice once I can actually have like parts of the story coming out, right? That would be nice. Angel says comics take time, coming from a comic artist, and you're making a whole pilot. You're doing great, Jax. I applaud you. Thank you. Really means a lot to hear that. Yeah, comics do take time. Animation takes a lot of time. I hate leaving you guys in the dark, and I hate making like promises that I can't keep because I'm just not financially there to be able to keep them. But definitely I am doing everything in my power to try and get this pilot out. Magnus says, yeah, day at work was awful, and working on my comic is my reason to live, pretty much. I understand that more than you know. But I'm glad you're hanging in there. I'm glad you're toughing it out through these tough times, even with the BS that 9-to-5s bring us. And I'm glad that you can find some joy in your story that brings you happiness. And it's funny because, like, I actually have an email I need to answer, but I can't because I'm streaming right now. But I hired a prop designer, and they're making some fun props for Thought, so very excited about that. But again, shout out again to Zombie Bomb. They helped a lot with some of the red lines, especially on these earlier pages when I was very nervous about making a comic and I wasn't sure how to go about it. Hi Pax over on Twitch. How are you today? Good to always see you. And here's Flaffy as well. Hi guys, how are we all? Magnus says, actually, remember, I work in Colombia and I work part-time, but it's still heavy stuff, especially when things get hectic. Okay, so when I mean the 9-to-5, I mean working a job that you weren't expecting to work, you know what I mean? Like, because I figure that you're an artist like I am, and so many of us are in here, and kind of when I consider the 9-to-5 is it's a task that we have to do because we have to have money to live. Sometimes the job can be easy, sometimes, but a lot of the times the job is like really difficult, and you kind of just want to go home and draw and work on your stuff, and that's kind of where you wish you actually had your job. So that's what I meant by like 9-to-5, is it's a thing we have to do in order to live. Unfortunately, right? Let's see. Flappy says, howdy, I'm back from work. Nice. Glad you're off the clock from that one. Pax is over here angry at Flaffy for some reason. Angel over on YouTube says, Pax and Flaffy, hello, with a heart. Flaffy says, uh-oh, to Pax being angry. And Angel continues on from YouTube saying, I'm screaming all the way from YouTube. Alrighty, YouTube say hi and Twitch say hi. Let's all play nice. Magda says, yeah, I'm lucky to be able to work at my family's pet center and all while still living with my family in my 30s. Help. You know, I am still at my father's just because a lot of my money goes into my animation. I'm trying to get something out of this because I would like to eventually be able to travel to conventions and sell my art, sell my, books and everything when the time comes. But right now, my family's been very gracious at letting me stay, and of course, like, I help out around the house and I help with bills and all that. So, like, I get it. It's a different time. Right now, it's hard for any of us to live. It's hard for any of us to thrive. and we do with what we got, and there shouldn't be any shame in order of trying to live, right? I don't believe there should be any shame in that. So long as we're doing our part, so long as we're doing our best. That's all anyone should ask for. Flappy says, howdy howdy, and Pax replies with a meow. I'm assuming that is back to Angel. As always, to those that are lurking and those that are hanging out in chat, I appreciate you guys joining me. I appreciate you guys just kind of being here and keeping me company, kind of keeping me on task in a way. If you guys have questions about my process, questions about my story, or even, you know, want to tell me about your own stuff, your own story, your own characters, tell me about the scenarios they would have in the world of Sirawasa and Thought and all that, go for it. I love hearing from you guys. I think it's really fun and interesting, and sometimes we have some really fun topics to talk about, especially as I am working on getting this stuff done. Also, can anybody tell me what is wrong with this image? But it's not wrong, it's actually correct. Besides my hands looking bad, but that's not part of it. That's not part of it. We're not doing that part. Flappy says, I'm paying so many bills that aren't my own, bro. Yeah, again, it's so tough for everybody right now. And it's so unfortunate. Magnus says, indeed, I'm also lucky that I met creators like you that I can interact with. Can't wait to share more of my comics. Yeah, no, I can't wait to hear more about it. I love hearing your guys' ideas and your stories. I think you're all very creative, and I think you guys are going to do great things. It's just a matter of we just got to kind of stick in it together, support each other, lift each other, and not just use each other as like stepping stools of like, well, you can hear about my story, but I don't want to hear about your story, right? We're all here to listen to each other. We're all here to hang out with each other. Flappy goes and says, yeah, I agree, Jax is cool. Nah. Flappy's got it. She has 4 fingers. Now, for those that don't know so much for Thought, is when a character has 4 fingers, they are human in my story. If they have any more or any less, they are a humanoid or alien of sort, but they are not human. So therefore, this lady is a human. It always trips up my artists though, because they'll hand me stuff and I go, no, less fingers. And they're like, what? Or then they'll draw Yuji with only like 3 fingers, and I'm like, nope, more fingers. It's like the less macaroni, more macaroni. I got cookies, who wants some? It depends on the cookies. I don't like chocolate, so if the chocolate chip or any of that kind of stuff, I'm good. Flappy says, gimme, Pax eats them all. Okay. Didn't we have a scenario like this with Sai? Pax, you just living up to it. Hey, 44 Games over on Twitch. How are you? Max Cat says, but she has 5 fingers. Technically, the thumb is not a finger. Technically. If we're going to go into semantics, but you are correct. She does have 5 fingers, as opposed, if we're going on that. Angel over on YouTube all by herself says, let her cookies. I imagine there's like a fence dividing you guys, and Angel's like, can I have one, please? Flappy says, Pax always hurts. Poor Flappy. Oh, goodness. Pax, oh my gosh, I'm Psy now. Sparkles and demon faces and fire. Goodness. Angel over here screaming, y'all better give me some. 44 Games says, doing good, how are you? I am doing quite well. So the My streams are going to be a little chaotic, as I was explaining at the beginning of the stream. They're going to be a little bit more on the chaotic side for the fact of I am in the middle of getting the pilot composited, and I have to export a lot of files, and that eats up a lot of time. I kind of wanted to have a stream to be able to tell you guys, like, that's what's going on right now. That's why there's going to be some delays on me streaming. But I want to, I wanted to let you guys know that, and then I was just kind of in the mood to do some lining, because I don't have to think when I do this. It's really soothing. So yeah, but how are things for you? You already said doing good, but hopefully everything else is continuing to be well. I totally messed up that shoe. Magnus says, well, just looked it up. Thumbs are not considered fingers. It is an American thing. Just like you guys with kilometers and measuring stuff with your feet. Yes. Yes. Magnus corrects it saying only considered. And that's true. That's true. But again, that's the semantics of us being Americans, and yeah. Angel, there is a fence. There is. Hi, Daniel. How are you? New face. Thank you. Yeah, just kind of enjoying streaming for both YouTube and Twitch right now. Welcome to the chat. Oh no, it's Kiri with the ooh who dis over on YouTube. What are you doing here? It's almost like I saw you already at work today. Nah, it's always good to see you. I have to stalk you and everything. Yeah, that makes sense when you were asking me for my my Twitter handle today. But welcome in, everyone. It's always good to see everybody and have you guys hanging out. I do really appreciate it. And like I said, if you guys want to tell me about your characters, you want to ask me questions about, you know, generally anything, like relating to like the process or, you know, relating to, you know, thought stuff, sure, go for it. I would love to hear it. Love to talk to you guys on it. If not, I want to hear what you guys are working on. Any ideas, any fun little scenarios you got for yourselves, always fun to hear. Angel saying, oh, hello, friend of Jack's. Yeah, Kiri is one of my oldest friends in the fact that of how long I have known her. We're pretty much childhood friends, and pretty much, yeah, just been friends since. So yeah. Here's a question. Where's my King Mukta? I miss his face. Okay, so he has a small part in this chapter. He doesn't really appear until chapter 2. Like, you'll see him, like, always on, like, a TV or teleprompter or something, but you don't get to see, him, you know, interacting with people and being himself. You're kind of hearing what he is telling the public. It just because the issue you have when you have a large cast is you can't have them on screen at all times because nothing would get done. Nothing would work. in the story. So Mukta is always there, kind of in the background of things, and then he does show up in chapter 2. Originally, chapter 2 was going to go straight into the Domageddon, but we actually rehashed some things with my writers, Allie and Fishy. We wrote some things and adjusted things in the outline and came to the conclusion that we needed a few extra chapters in between to not rush the whole story and make it, you know, feel more organic. Because I had to cut a lot of things originally when I was creating Thought. I had to be an animation. I had to cut a lot of content because, again, I have to pay for every single second of animation, and when you have something go on for like 20 minutes to 40 minutes, I can't pay for that. I can't afford that. I could barely afford this 8-minute pilot. And this 8-minute pilot was still a fair chunk of money. So really, really tough. Really, really tough. And then on top of that, I didn't want to make, like, you know, everybody wait for stuff. But they were going to have to anyways. And then I came to the conclusion that comics would have been the best way to do it. Ooh, lots of text. Let's see. Flappy over on Twitch says, we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Absolutely. We are almost there. Again, we are in the compositing stage, which is where it makes a character look like they're lived in the environment, and it's not just a piece of art laid on top of another piece of art. So we are getting there, but that is what's going to be eating up my time for streams, because I have to go export like every single layer of a background. I have to go export every single layer of an animation, make sure they get into the files, make sure I'm getting them to my artist, because I wasn't sure exactly everything I needed to give them for compositing, because because my brain, if it would work, I wasn't sure all the steps that went into compositing, because I went to school and my school was like, that's not really an important detail. Oh, well, compositing is super important. Don't let anybody tell you that. It's extremely important. So my compositors, very, very, very nice guys. They worked over on Lackadaisy. Super great guys. They have been very generous and patient with me and helping me, you know, understand what I need to do for them. And right now we're trying to work on the test stuff. So, Carrie says, I showed up and never left. That is so true, but at the same time, I think I'm just as attached to you as you are to me. Magnus over on Twitch says, so my story. Human Cattle. I finally have a proper idea of what a pilot for that comic would be. So you don't actually have to make a pilot for a comic. Pilots are usually more for animation. You can just make the comic. Though you could have like a one-off for a comic is usually a thing. Anyways, continuing. How to show off what the main character conflicts are, how the world works, what subjects are dealt with, and how it all fits in like an orchestra. Okay, cool. So like I was saying, you would want to call that a one-off, and that's kind of what I did with the Christmas comic for Thought. Was I wanted to make sure that my cast worked with each other, and I wanted to make sure that like these characters worked with each other, and that's why we did that Christmas comic as kind of a proof of concept to people of like, this is kind of some of the stuff you can expect. So that's really cool that you are doing that and you're experimenting, and you're just kind of like, you know what, let's just go all in on this one chapter, book, proof of concept, like let's all go in, show everybody what we're made of, and that is awesome. I look forward to reading it. Angel over on YouTube says, oh yeah, that's understandable. Thank you for answering my question. You can't have all the characters in one setting. I adore Mukta. Yeah, it's even tough with having 4 main characters and trying to juggle them, because usually you can have 3 characters on a screen 4 starts to become a lot more claustrophobic, and then when you bring in more characters, you have to decide what characters take a step back, what are they doing, how is this part of their ambition, etc., etc. Also, by the way, thank you for the subscription over on YouTube, Danielle. I really do appreciate it. I had caffeine, so I'm like pretty jazzed right now, and I'm pretty good on that. We'll see how long the caffeine lasts. Sometimes it makes me go sleepy. I think it's also because like I'm outlining and I like outlining. I think it's fun. I think it's soothing. I should focus on the lines first before I do that. So what are everyone's plans for the evening? Kiri over on YouTube says, I was wondering what devil juice you ingested. I am still sleepy. I have been drinking Liquid Death tea. So pretty much it's actually watered down tea. So maybe it gives me just the right amount of caffeine. It tastes pretty good. This one's called Green Guillotine. They have like an Arnold Palmer one that's called Dead Billionaires. But this one's just green tea. So I'm not even getting like a ton of caffeine even from that. Magnus says, well, I call it pilot because I take it they're meant to show off the concept and explain the basics in one chapter, like a synopsis for chapter 1 pretty much. No, and that's the thing, is that's the term pilot was mainly for animation, but again, if you want to call it a pilot, go for it. No one's gonna stop you for that. Angel says, I love coloring my artwork. It's like a coloring book. That's awesome. I know lots of people that love coloring, like in color books and as well as their own art. I am not one of those people. And you guys have heard me. You've heard me on stream, just complaining and crying. I'm like that little child image where she's like coloring the image and she's just like crying, but trying to smile for the camera or something, like, and holding her head. That's me. That's me. 44 game, or, no. Flappy is saying, I'm literally shopping. What you shopping for? 44 Games says, just relaxing and studying. Pax responds with, working on some Isaac art. Let's go. Drawing his worst fear, butterflies. I had a coworker at a haunted house. Her fear, her phobia was of butterflies. And my boss would go and put like butterflies that were like wound up. They were paper butterflies, but you would wind them up and put them in a desk and everything. So then when she would move something, they would all fly out because he thought that was funny to terrify her. Don't terrify somebody with a phobia. That's all I'm gonna say. Kiri responds with, I need to try the Arnold Palmer one. Yeah, Dead Billionaire is pretty good. I don't have any, or otherwise I'd bring one up to you at work. Kiri, I see you were DMing me. I cannot respond at the moment. I love you. I love you. I can't respond. Angel says, my plans for this evening are finishing up character sheets for the characters and work on comics. I'm a busy bee. Go for it, Angel. Magnus says, I mean, I'm aware the that Berserk indeed had a pilot, and I mean for the manga, so that's where I got the ideas for comics and can have pilots. Alright, like I said, go for it. No, she has sleeves. I'm giving her Rufus sleeves for some reason. No Rufus sleeves for you. I think it's because I had her sleeves originally rolled up and then they got rolled down for the red lines. Again, Zombie Bomb helped me with the redlining on this, so very, very excited, very, very grateful. Had a lot of great friends that have helped me when I get stuck on things, and especially because these are the earlier pages of the the prequel comic. And it was a lot of, during this stage, was a lot of me trying to figure out how do I even do a comic, right? So very, very appreciative to have such talented and skilled and very generous friends to help me understand how to do this better. Let's see. Carrie's responding with, "It's all good, boo. It's just Resident Evil 9 mod gif I found. I'll talk to you later. You have fun." Alright, Carrie. Thank you. And keep sending me Resident Evil 9. You know me. Magnus says, question, how sensitive are you to laugh at something? How dumb is your sense of humor? That's a tough one. I like to think I have a good sense of humor. But I also do realize that I have moments to where how do you describe it? Like, I don't emote properly. Of course, it sounds like, you know, I'm having like, yay, blah, blah, blah. But like, if you like look at me, like I have like a stonewall face. Well, again, if you could look at me. I don't emote super well, and it's one of those, I like to think I have a sense of humor. I like to think that like I find things funny, but like there are times that everybody will be laughing at something and I will just be sitting there because my body didn't get the cue. So that one's always that one's a tough one. That one's a tough one because I just know I don't emote well, unfortunately. I think the only reason I'm smiling right now is when you smile, you enunciate words better. I learned in voice diction class. Let's see. Pax says, with pictures of butterflies, he gets extremely weirded out. Once his sister drew one for him, he's like, no, erase it. And Kyrie was like, you act like a crazy person. You're scared of this. Yeah, no, again, I had a coworker who was she had a phobia of butterflies and like moths. So it's like, it's always interesting. It's always interesting what somebody can be scared of. So that is interesting that you gave that to Isaac. I think phobias for a character are fascinating. Magnus then responds with, better question. Have you chuckled at bread falling? I think it depends on the scenario. I know I've hung my head in shame many times from like when I just butter something and the bread falls on the ground. That happens to me a lot. It's funny to laugh at like now, but like in the moment, I'm not happy. Why? What's happening with the bread on the ground? I know I giggle at the Silent Hill meme of it's bread. That's funny to me. So like. Also got to see my little PNG Sona still in the shop, but it's getting there, and I'm very, very, very excited. Again, we're just still running into a few snags on it, which always stinks, but I'm definitely excited that, you know, it's starting to come to fruition. Not that I didn't think it was going to. It's just, you know, when you finally like get to have it, right? Pax says all the times Isaac would try to scare Sai for fun. Oh yeah, if Sai found out about his worst fear, that'll be his revenge tour. Possibly. Sai is a petty man indeed. What does he have in his arm? I don't remember. Don't know. I drew something on his arm, so we're gonna guesstimate. You want to make something look sci-fi? Make it have weird shapes. Fluffy says, I think Victor is very fearless, but he has a fear of coming across as a monster and being alone. Yeah. Yeah, understandable. What would happen if he was perceived as that? Or does he already think he is? Yeah, no, I always think that's like probably one of the more interesting things is figuring out a phobia for a character and figuring out, do they ever face this phobia? Do they ever overcome it, or does it overcome them? It's always slicked back hair with me, right? It's always slicked back hair. I just gotta have characters with slicked back hair because I don't know why. It all started with Vlad. Me being like, I know this character should have slicked back hair. Magnus Cat says, so right now I'm drawing lots of flames for my comic cover, and my first time drawing fire. I'm so happy how the effects are looking so far. Awesome. Love hearing that. Fire is an interesting one. I know I'm still trying to get like the hang of it. So that's really awesome that you figured out a technique. Flaffy says he already thinks he is. Like on Earth, the thought was manageable. He had his wife to reassure him, but on Sarawasa, nothing stops those intrusive thoughts. Yeah, does make it tough, and if anybody on Sarawasa finds out, they're obviously going to abuse it. already read that. I'm like, yay, drawing characters, and I'm gonna have to like outline the background and be like, eh. He shouldn't have had 3 fingers here. That's okay. We will change that. This pinky would go like that. You want it to have a... Not the best at drawing hands, but I've definitely been trying to study them more. Because I got tired of not being able to draw them super well. Some days I could draw them, other days I couldn't. So, been trying to study. This over. There we go. And then it should be like that. Magnus Cat says, wait, the text in your comic, is that Comic Sans? Yes, it is. No, this isn't Comic Sans. This font is... What is this font? I believe I already styled this font. This is called Comic Relief. I have various comic fonts in here, but this is not Comic Sans. If it is Comic Sans, it's just because it was on a default, but I haven't adjusted any of my fonts yet to what they're supposed to be. I just toss any font on there to whatever I was using so that I know where to put the speech bubbles, because that is one of the most important things that people don't think about when they do it, is they do the comic, they draw everything, and then they forget to put in the speech bubble, and it's like, it's a whole pain. So yeah, I know better than to use Comic Sans. Goodness, goodness, ye of little faith. Hi, Chris. Use Papyrus. Get out of here. I adore you, man. You gotta come on one of these streams with me. I love chatting with you. And then you can heckle me. Yes, you must use it accidentally. Alright. 44 Game says, graphic design #1 rule, don't intentionally use Comic Sans. Yeah, but also, I'm in the belief as an artist, who the hell cares? Like, I don't understand why, like, okay, so I took graphic design classes. I took a lot of graphic design classes in my school. And so I can understand, you on professional things, you don't want to use Comic Sans because again, it doesn't sell as well. You want it to look proper when you are trying to sell a product. But like, if it is a font in a book you were reading or a font in a comic, I could care less personally if somebody did it for the fact, I don't care if you have your pitchforks at me. This is my hot take. For the fact of, I'm dyslexic. It is easier for me to read Comic Sans than it is for me to read Helvetica. Also, on top of that, I had to watch an 1.5 hour long documentary on Helvetica. And on this freaking documentary, there was a lot of guys getting off on the enjoyment of Helvetica. That font sucks. That font is terrible. And I will die on that hill. Yes, we shouldn't have Comic Sans if you're trying to be professional and you're trying to sell something. I can completely agree with that. But if it's font in a book, font in a comic, I don't care, because if your comic's not good enough to keep my attention, I have to focus on, oh my god, they used Comic Sans for the font, then there's more of a problem with the actual story and the art, right? Let's see. We'll schedule something. Yeah, no, definitely. I would love to have you on here one of these days. You know, when I actually get like all my files put out for like compositing and all that, and I can start streaming normally. Fluffy says we uses Wilds Willids Roman for comics. I don't know that one. 44 Games says rule #2, only use wingdings. You get out of here with that. No one can read wingdings. Magnus Cat says, what about the hundreds of other fonts out there? I mean, again, I have lots of comic fonts. I will not be using Comic Sans in my comic, for sure, because I went and got fonts that are actually used in comic books. So I have those fonts that I use. But if I didn't have those, Comic Sans wouldn't be the worst thing for me to use, because I'd be more bored at a comic using Helvetica or Arial or whatever and being like, man, just spruce it up, have fun. But again, I'm looking at it as an artist and not a graphic designer. And yes, people are gonna be like, but graphic design is art. Yes, it is, but it's also more business minded. And I believe art should be free, right? Just tell a story any way you want. And if that is using a font that's unconventional, why not? Like, I've seen people do worse things. But again, that's my little hill to die on. Wingdings mentioned, what is this Undertale? Pax responds with yes. Oh my god, guys. Undertale was good. Well, it was good, but then, like, the fandom got really weird. I just need to avoid fandoms, I say, as I'm making my own thing. Like, I even try to avoid the Resident Evil fandom. It's just, I don't know. I don't know, man. I think I'm just too old. I'm too old, too tired. What about Deltarune? I have not played Deltarune. Again, the Undertale fandom, I have nothing against the game. The Undertale fandom kinda ruined some things for me. such as, like, I liked Sans and Toriel, and I had a lot of people coming after me for that. And me cosplaying it, I had people coming after me because I am a fat individual. I have fat on me. I have for the majority of my life. I've struggled with my weight. And I cosplayed Sans, and I remember people coming after me going, well, Sans isn't fat, so this is really bad of you to cosplay him. And I'm just sitting here like, and skeletons don't move without, you know, organs and like muscle and skin, so I don't just lots of little things. So like I hear lots of great things about Deltarune. I hear all my friends loving it. I just can't bring myself to sit down and play it, just because the fandom kind of unfortunately made me go, I don't care about these characters anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And it was sad, because again, I had a lot of fun with it. But just kind of hard to get back into things when other people make things bad for you, right? You just kind of don't want to look at it. 44 Game says, I have a question related to... Man, my southern draw is really bad today. I have a question related to writing. Did anybody influence your writing? Good question. I know who didn't influence my writing, and I'm gonna hate on him so hard in here. You ready for it? You ready for it? Drum roll, please. The author I hate and did not influence me, or at least influenced me not to do the crap he did, Charles Dickens. I hate Charles Dickens. I hate reading his stuff. Very pretentious guy. Nope, don't like Charles Dickens. But A Christmas Carol, Jax. I don't care. I don't care. I like the Muppets Christmas Carol. Okay? Like, that's the Christmas Carol I like. But, like, Great Expectations, Tale of Two Cities, I don't care. I don't care about any of it. For positive influences, Agatha Christie. Really loved Agatha Christie. Sir Conan Arthur Doyle. Really loved him. Because who doesn't love Sherlock Holmes and all that? So Agatha Christie, Sir Conan Arthur Doyle, Edgar Allan Poe. I swear I read more than I'm like labeling off right now. Dan Brown's got a few good ones. Like, not so much into the Da Vinci Code movie, but like Angels and Demons, the book, really good. I really enjoyed that one. Trying to think of another author. I'm a huge fan of S.D. Perry, but like, I'm not gonna say that their stuff is like, oh my god, wow, because they write like video game novels, but like the way that they described, and of course, to no one's surprise, they wrote Resident Evil books, but they were my favorite books to read as a kid. But the way they described like shambling corpses, like zombies and everything, and like the stench, I was fascinated by that. So definitely S.D. Perry influenced a lot of how I imagine meat puppets to move. Just a way of like the way they wrote and like the smell and the sight. So definitely, if we're going for inspiration towards thought, definitely has to be S.D. Perry. So for you guys, any authors out there that super inspired your own work, or just, you know, was a good old read for you? I'm glad I like remembered those authors' names. I'm usually like really bad at not remembering names. Cause I'll be like, so one guy with the hat, he had the hat and he's got a beard. He's white. That dude. He's old. Like, we had to learn about him in school. He's dead. That dude. Most of those books are boring, though, if they were written by a guy that I just described, though. Those are usually the books I was like, I don't care. Yeah, but, no, I hate Charles Dickens. And he can come out of the grave, I'll fight him back into it. do not care for his work. Also, shout out once again to Zombie Bomb for helping me redline a few of my pages. They are really awesome. And if you don't give them a follow, please do. I mean, you and your team was a good inspiration. I need to read more books. Well, books are really fun. I really wish I could read more books. I just don't have the time anymore. I used to read a lot of books as a kid, even Harry Potter books, but that was before I knew the J.K. Rowling mold queen of the damned. Fuck her. Hate that woman. Read a lot of her books as a kid, but she is far from inspiration. Even then, as a kid, I was like, eh, these aren't the best books, but everybody else likes them too. Is Queen of the Damned a book? I love the movie. Is it a book? I need to go see if it is a book. Because I love the movie. That'd be fun to read. Or do an audio. She is a mold queen! Except I don't even want to give her queen. She doesn't get that title. She gets, like, mold jester. She's a big old clown. Sounds like a villain of some kind. It's a freaking Resident Evil villain, if anything. 44 Games says, I personally like Alan Moore, Raymond Briggs, Cormac McCarthy, Junji Ito. Yeah. Those are really good ones, too. I think I was sitting there only thinking of books. The books. Comics are books. But I think I was mainly sitting there thinking of, like, novels that I had to, like, read. She is the Mold Hag! Thank you! That's a far better name. Yeah, no, those are really good authors as well. I need to read more Junji Ito, though. Who am I thinking? Oh! Scott McCloud. His stuff is not fictional. However, he does a lot of great things of trying to break down how to do a comic. If you ever get stuck, I read a few of his books before, or as I was trying to work on this prequel comic, because I was doing everything in my power to figure out how does one make a comic, because when I worked with Ken's, Fishy, and Allie on the fan comic, we kind of had a system to where we would all write the script together. Ken's would go and thumbnail it, and sometimes do the sketching. I would do the sketching and the outlining. Fishy and Allie would do the coloring, and then Allie would do like the editing of like the lettering and all that, and then we'd have a page done. But I don't have them so much on the comic anymore. I have Allie and Fishy on writing. But I'm the one that is doing the drawing and the coloring and the lettering and the readjusting, and the most that's going to happen is probably go back to them and they're going to make sure I don't have typos, make sure dialogue sounds okay, because even when I'm doing scripting into comics, it changes. My dialogue changes. I cut out scenes from the script, going, I actually don't think it works anymore. That's the nice thing about comics. You can kind of change things on a whim. In a cartoon, not so much. Not so much. But yeah, no, definitely Rowling is a mold hag. I'm getting lazy. Need to not. It's always tough when you're drawing characters, NPCs, characters that mean like really nothing to the plot. They're just kind of there. Oh, we got the ads. Well, what you gonna do? I need to turn this down. It's hard to see what I am drawing. I'm gonna turn that off for now. Turn this down. I do kind of like the lettering stage though, because I've been learning how to play with fonts. Well, you know, when you're doing like the kaboom and all that. I've been trying to learn how to do that, so that's been kind of fun to do. But I can't wait to finish up the pilot, just so you guys can actually have something and I can be like, haha, see, I did something, yay! And then I can focus mainly on the comic. That would be nice. Because I'd like to start getting pages going. A buddy of mine, Jordan, really great guy, he... I had kind of like asked around like, hey, does anybody know how to make a website to where you can post the comic on it? Because again, I want to use Global Comics. I want to use Global Comics for posting up the comic in the beginning, but eventually I'd like to just have the comic on my own website. And I kind of went asking around, and Jordan was like, oh yeah, one of my buddies, they have their own comic page and everything. Go hit them up. Maybe they got some tips or advice. So like, very excited to be able to reach out to this individual, but as of the moment, that's not on my roster. I've got a lot of other things I got to take care of, right? But yeah. Also, if you guys have ever heard of the Sunflower Club, they're a cute little indie animation group that goes and tries to raise morale and, you know, raise awareness of all the upcoming indie shows coming up. So like if you guys ever have an interest in that, they're also the ones who host Indie Animation Day. Really nice group. They've been having a it's kind of like a newsletter, but it's a monthly. Oh, you're in their server? Nice. Yeah, they have like a monthly kind of like newsletter thing of like all the upcoming things. It's really cool to like flip through. It's like a flip book and everything. I figured out how to do that flip book, so like that'll be cool for like whenever I do like, oh, you want a digital copy of the comic here, and then you could just flip through it. Have a digital flip book. But like eventually I'd like to reach out and do like a little, see if I can do like a little ad interview thing with them to go a little bit more in depth on thought. But as of the moment, that is probably going to be closer to when the pilot starts to come out. But yeah, no, they're great. If you guys don't already follow them, highly recommend. Because again, you want to kind of keep up to date to all the new indie shows. And speaking of indie shows, are there any indie shows? Do not name Thought. I point at you. Do not name Thought. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Are there any indie shows? Not Thought. I'm staring at you. Don't do it. Any indie shows out there that you guys are excited for? They can be big ones. They can be small ones. What are you generally excited for? I'd love to hear it. I'm kind of been in the dark for a bit, so I don't know everybody. I don't know everyone's indie shows anymore. I used to like know everybody's, but like I've kind of hid away for a bit, like a hermit, trying to get my stuff done, right? But also this is just kind of my own curiosity to be like, oh man, what did I miss? Who's out there? And don't name Thought. Chris. Chris. Ooh, I see you. I see you, demon. Well, fine. I'm looking forward to the Will of Monsters. No, I seriously am. Chris has got a great project going on. 44 Games says, I like to find more smaller and obscure projects. Ooh, have you found any? I'd love to hear. Flaffy says, I'm not sure. I'm scared of getting into new things. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Pax. Thought. Sorry, I panicked. I blame Chris. I blame Chris for this. Chris, you did this. You did this. You guys are funny. I think the toughest thing I'm gonna have a problem with is eventually when I post the pilot to YouTube, I have to like make a very specific kind of thumbnail. I don't know how to do that. I'm too tired. Let's see. Chris says Ursats was pretty dope. Which one's Ursats? Ursats was a cool little surprise. I liked the duck cartoon you sent me yesterday. That was cool. But Ursats, yeah, great world building and immaculate vibe. Okay, I'm gonna have to go look that one up. I'm sure you have sent it to me, but like, problem is I can send videos. You send me videos when I'm at work, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch it, and then I don't because I'm at work. But I definitely need to watch it. But again, I wasn't trying to put any pressure on you guys. I just like hearing what you guys are into. Especially because I want to support more things in the indie world. I have been lost in my own world trying to get things done. It always feels like I'm 3 steps behind, even though I've made a lot of progress, and I have to give myself that much of a pat on the back, right? Is I've gotten further than a lot of people, and I just gotta keep going. But I feel bad because, again, I used to be a lot more on top of it, knowing everybody, and then just fell off, got tired. It was tough. It was tough trying to be like engaging with a lot of people, but when I first got into it, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends or anything in animation. My school kind of pushed me out, so like it was tough. Awesome, thanks for the link. Chris also says, here you go. They did make a Kickstarter like a year ago. Did pretty well since it was just for voice acting. Oh wow, they had a Kickstarter just for voice acting? Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard a group doing just a Kickstarter for voice acting. Very interesting. But thanks. I obviously can't watch it right now. Rhea over on YouTube says, I'm here! My my YouTube didn't notify me. I'm sorry, Rhea, but welcome in. We're still going on for a bit. It's good to see you. Maybe hit the bell notification, and maybe the next time it'll help on that. I don't know how YouTube works, so I could be completely wrong. Chris says Miranda from Alice in the Stars has a little short about superhero dogs. Yeah, I am so proud of Miranda. She is doing immaculate things. I think she is awesome and really, really, really inspiring, considering she does it all herself. That's awesome. I love any chance I get to interact with Miranda. I would love to hang out with her at some point. She's so cool. Like, yeah, if you don't follow Atlas and the Stars or Mirandamations, go for it. She is awesome. I love Miranda. I could probably gush about her for a bit. Chris says, haven't watched it yet, but it looks really cute. Yeah, I need to watch it too. I just keep forgetting because, you know, when you go to work, you sit down and then everything. Rhea, for a friend. Nice. I did this to myself. I gave myself a setting that has multiple NPCs and characters that do nothing for the plot. And it's a city, and I gotta like draw and and it's like, yes, I can make and I will make some silhouettes, but like not every character needs to be a silhouette. Chris and friends were telling me about the series RWBY. I've never watched RWBY. I don't plan to ever watch RWBY. But that sure was a experience. They showed me and then tried to tell me, and I slow blinked one eye at a time, trying to comprehend what I was being told to ingest. Okay, Fluffy says, what's the context of this page? Rhea says, I just need to screenshot this link real quick. Alright. So, this is the very first page of Thought. Chris says, RWBY is so fascinating. No, from what you're telling me, it was crazy. Yeah, so this is the first page of Thought. My idea for it is going to be completely black and white and, you know, heavily shaded with inking and all that stuff, because a lot of horror comics are in black and white. That's kind of what is expected. It's not the be-all, end-all, but a lot of horror comics are in black and white because it kind of tells stories, horror stories, better. But Thought is very much about like neon lighting and such. And yeah, an old draft of this. So if I go in, if I go here to the gallery, you go to the second page. So pretty much it is a horror movie that Rufus is watching. that is the context of this page. Is it starts with horror, but it's not really. It's a cheesy old horror movie that'll be set in black and white. It's kind of my skirt your expectations of the comic being in black and white. Skirt the expectations of like, oh, we have this, oh no, doctor, horror movies, kind of based on like the 50s horror movies that humans would make. The old cheesy horror movies, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and all that. So this is very much kind of a nod to it, as well as we are not a black and white comic. There will be moments that probably have stuff like that, but like we are going to be trying to focus on colors. But it's also a great opening of, we are a horror series, but don't take us too seriously until you need to take us seriously, right? So yeah. It's not a super important scene. It's just a silly little thing, but also easiest way to introduce your character, I think, is you just kind of don't even use your character. You don't even use your characters yet for the first few pages. You just drop people straight into it, and then you have them go from there. Will it work? I don't know. I'm just here to have a good old time, right? And as I was being bullied on the server yesterday of, Jax, what do you mean you don't know? Or Jax, what do you mean probably? I will leave that open, and I will go back and color it later. Now is not the time. Shite, I don't know, I just work here. Yeah, pretty much. That is my mindset through all of this. It's one of those, I just like to do things because I'm like, that'd be fun to see. I want to see if I can do that. I could climb those stairs, and then I'm halfway up going, I can't climb these stairs. But either I go down the stairs or I go up the stairs and continue. But like, I still gotta move either way, right? But yeah, nope, The Start to Thought is a cheesy old movie. Though technically, The Start to Thought would be the pilot, since that will come out before the comic. And even more technically, the Christmas comic is the start. Don't. That is not. Christmas comic is not even canon. It was just a, let's have a test. Fluffy over here says, me, hey, is this character this specific thing? Jack scratching their face. Sure, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. It does. Like, please don't take me seriously. Yes, take me seriously, but don't take me seriously. You know what I mean? You'll get it. You'll understand. You'll know when to take me seriously, and then I'm just gonna keep sending you guys smiling gifs. The color red must symbolize something. Nah, blood's just red. I noticed they eat tacos on Wednesday, never Tuesday. I don't know. The line's too long at the taco place. But to be fair, I do really enjoy hiding things in plain sight. That's one of my favorite things, because if you guys noticed when you guys asked me, like, hey, what's your favorite author, or authors, two of my authors that I listed are, two of the authors I listed are mystery authors, because I really love mysteries, and like, they would hide things in plain sight. Sometimes they got ridiculous, and it was like, that wasn't even there. This BS. I don't like doing that. I like hiding things in plain sight. And if you solve it before I finish the story, congrats. You picked up the breadcrumbs, and I'm proud of you. If you don't, and you get the full surprise, awesome. I'm glad that there were some breadcrumbs, and you're enjoying it. I just don't like doing the, haha, surprise! It was this character you saw once. Ta-da! Like, I don't think that's fair. It's not fair to the reader. I want to give you guys a chance. And if you solve it quickly, awesome. If you solve it when it's revealed, awesome. That's part of the author. I don't believe in the whole, like, I have to get them with the twist. I have to get them with the reveal. It's like, nah. There's not really a twist. There's not really a, like, oh my god. It's like, it's all there. It's all laid out, right? Let's see. Rhea says, I can see Yoko in 30 Shades of Grey. She'd walk out. She'd be so bored. She'd be like, you're not even doing it right. She is 30 Shades of Grey. Flappy over on Twitch says, I mean, at least you give us the freedom to assume stuff about your characters and correct us if we're off. And I don't always correct you. I don't always correct you guys if you're off. I don't always, like, you know, go in there and be like, blah, blah, blah. Because again, I don't want to tell you guys everything, and if you're close, awesome. And sometimes I go in there where you're close and I go, nah, like, that's what I do. It's what I do. Like, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Have fun with the characters. Just understand that don't cling on to those ideals too hard, because I'd hate for you to cling on to those ideas, and then when I do the story, you go, mine was better. Like, I see that happen too often with artists and authors as well, which sucks. I hope you guys will still, like, enjoy the story. But again, I like hearing what you guys have to say, because sometimes you guys ask me things and I sit there and I go, well, shit, I don't know if they're a 2-ply or 3-ply kind of guy. I never thought about that. I guess I gotta think about which kind of ply toilet paper they use. I like a mystery, Chris says. Yeah, mysteries are really, really fun. I love sitting there and kind of like wondering, like, and it's not even like a full-on mystery. It's more of still got the mystery of like, why are these things happening? For what reason? Why does this have to happen? I think that's fascinating too in itself, and I think that's still kind of a mystery, but a lot of people are like, no, it has to be like Sherlock Holmes to be a mystery, and I don't always agree with that. But again, I love mysteries. I love horror. I like whodunits. I like all that kind of stuff. I think it's fun. I also just want to tell a story. Because this might be my only chance to, right? It was one of those, I always wanted to tell a story since I was a kid. Man, Psy only takes 5-minute showers instead of 30 minutes. Time to burn down the server. I think it depends on the time of day if he would. If he's going on a date, he sure as heck scrub-a-dub-dubbin'. If he's not, God, fucking hose him down. Man's got serious depression issues. I mean, me too, but like, come on, man. I think one of the things that inspired me to be like, you know, I should work on this page was there was a meme that I saw going around that was like, here is the artist, here is the cover of their comic, and here's the first page. And I wanted to do it, but I don't have the first page. So I was like, aw. God, the thoughts all need antidepressants. They will when I'm done with them. Anyways! This panel feels like a Silent Hill reference. Kinda. I mean, she is in a nurse outfit. So it has a little bit of a Silent Hill reference, but it's also a nod to, like, all the crying nurse and all. Yeah. It has a nod to, like I said, like the old, like, 30s and 40s movies that, you know, had, like, Mad Doctors and all of that, as well as, the video game Mad Doctor. No, Mad Father. This guy definitely has the inspiration of Mad Father, Wesker, from Resident Evil, Silent Hill. So it's definitely got like a little bit of that. You can't see it so much on Zombies page because they toned down everything, but like if I went in here and let's turn off the characters. But I go in here and is this the background? Oh wow, my background got faded. Doop, doop, doop. Let's grab all those and look at that. So if you look at it, like you got more like the help me, you're in danger, Will Robinson kind of doctor, and of course I built this background set in Fallout 76. But if you can see here is what I wanted to do with this is I wanted it to look like a horror movie, but you got things like the boom mic and spotlights, and you know, it's to where you start to realize, hey, something's up, wait a minute. Oh no, Jax is spoiling the first page of Thought. Get her. Wanted to say get him, but I don't know, get her is an easier word for me to say. Okay. turn these back off and go back to outlining the characters. Turn Zombie's page back on. That'll be fine there. I wonder if I can turn this on. A little too messy. Pax, are you angry about what I said? Or are we angry that Sai doesn't shower? He does shower. I'm just teasing. I have to make sure now I go back and give her nails, because I didn't do it in the other panel. Consistency is key. I plan to forget lots of details as we do this. Bro, sometimes I call you she, then they, then captain. Go for it. Again, I am gender fluid. It does not matter what you call me. The only thing that I do not appreciate to be called is it. I do not appreciate to be called that. But generally, most pronouns I am okay with like they, them, she, they, them, him. Yeah. I don't get called him as often, though. A shame, but, you know. Also, I love that she has nails like this, because no nurse in her right mind would have nails like this, but Hollywood. But Hollywood, right? Hollywood and thought. Pack smells like a cheeseburger. Yeah, it's been in the dumpster in the sun for 7 days. Sorry, I'm being mean. Jack Self, G. Go for it. Just our names are our pronouns now. And then he doesn't have this wrist thing. Do I go back and draw the wrist thing, or do I keep... I told you, my inconsistency. It'd be very funny for this panel because it's supposed to be like a bad movie. They could have forgotten a prop. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna commit. And by commit, I mean myself into the ha-ha house. That was a bad joke. Don't laugh. Let's see, okay. How dare you. Also, why is a horror movie playing in a nursing home? Ah, we're asking the real questions now. Cause this is my world and everyone's goth and okay with horror. I don't know. I just thought it would be funny to have like an old-timey horror movie on. Like, I've seen... When I was a kid, my mom did work at a nursing home. I had to like stay up there and do like schoolwork. She would pick me up from school and then I'd have to be at the nursing home for like the rest of the evening while she worked. And I do recall them, the nursing home is full of millennials! Ah, you're right, you're right, you're right. I'm so sad. But you're right. That's a better answer than mine. No, No, it was I remember like sitting at the table doing my homework and like looking up, and it was a black and white movie that was like a tarantula, and like you send in the army to like get the 50-foot tarantula and shoot it down. Now I have no idea if they were watching that actual movie or if it was a movie that was using that footage in their movie and I just happened to look up and see it. But that's the only memory I have besides the smell of a nursing home. So yeah, I was like, they could do it, but I like Chris's answer way better. There's bound to be horror movies in a Nintendo Wii. Chris. My grandmother right now, she is in it's a nice retirement home, but she doesn't want to be in a retirement home. I don't know what we call it, but it's a retirement home. So my grandmother is in this retirement home, and it's set up like an apartment complex. It's a nice place for her. I don't know why she's complaining. But anyways, on Wednesdays they have Nintendo Wii bowling. On Wednesdays. And I stared at that. And I went, oh God, is that what we're gonna have? High five. Shut the heck up. I was thinking that. It was like so crazy though. I wasn't expecting to see that at my grandmother's place. So retirement homes will be extinct by the time us millennials get to it. They'll be extinct. There won't be any. It'll be, you just gotta live. Sorry, I'm being a Debbie Downer. I'm gonna move on to a different topic than that. I should make that tighter. I like when I say that to characters because it has different meanings depending on the character. Such as Rufus doesn't fit in clothes, for God's sake. We'll all be in our walking chairs playing Uno and singing this theme song to Freakazoid and Pinky in the Brain. Oh my God. We'll be singing the Animaniacs song. It's so bad. It's true, but it's so bad. Back in my day, I made a cartoon. That's great, Grandma. Joke's on me. I don't have kids, so there's no heckin' way I'll be a grandparent. Old episodes of SWAT Cats and Jackie Chan Adventures. No. Knowing us, they'll give us like Pound Puppies or something to watch. I'm dating myself at this point. I need to be like that one VTuber lady who's got the cute little black and white Betty Boop looking one. She's really fun to watch. Watching reruns of all of that. Drake and Josh. Oh my God. All that would not age well. I found a way. Uh-oh. What do you mean you found a way? Back in my day, we had cords on our phone, and they were connected to the wall. Yeah, no, all that would not age well today. I have like very vague memories, but also Dan Schneider was in charge of that show, so like, ooh, would not age well.
And it's so, I don't want to say funny, because again, there were victims in that whole situation, but it's so interesting that a lot of that stuff happened, like, in the show, like a lot of weird fetishes and such in the show with children. And, like, I remember watching that show as a kid. I remember loving that show as a kid. But even some of those things, because I have, like, vivid memories of, like, a lot of feet things and, like, kind of positions they were in. And even as a kid, I remember going, this is weird. Maybe I'm just not funny. This is weird. And then all that stuff came to light, and I, like, sat there going, cool. I'm glad little me knew enough. So, I guess he was also in charge of Drake and Josh too, huh? Yeah, a lot of it was weird. It was just weird. I just thought I wasn't a funny kid. I just thought, like, oh, it's trying to be gross out humor, I guess. And I'm just not good at, like, emoting and laughing like everybody else. Because again, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, I've always, like, kind of struggled with my emotions. So yeah. I wonder if Are You Afraid of the Dark holds up. I haven't thought about that show in a bit. That intro sequence was creepy, though. Especially at, like, 9, as soon as it turned to 9 at night, and that would start to play. Yeah. Here, how about we watch Legends of the Hidden Temple, even though there's controversy on that one as well, as I'm starting to say this. That one, I think, had more controversy of, like, they cheated it so that the kids could never win. Or they didn't want a majority of the kids to win. I need to go watch that documentary on it. I think there was a documentary on it. There was something on it. I listened to YouTubers go over Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes, and a lot of them still hold up to this day. Nice! Yeah, I miss kids getting, like, actual horror things, because I remember those episodes, like, spooked me. They probably rewired a few things in my head, too, but my sister and I used to sit huddled next to each other watching it every night. It would come on at 9. I had too limited of attention span for live action shows. When I had a chance to watch them, if there wasn't an explosion every 5 seconds, then I wasn't interested. I do understand that. I do understand that. There was a lot of the live action shows I didn't like as a kid. But, like, there were a handful. There were a handful that I could watch, but it was also, I watched them with my sister. My sister didn't want to watch cartoons so much because cartoons were for babies. And so I wanted to hang out with my sister so bad, so I would watch some of these, like, live action kid shows with her. And Are You Afraid of the Dark was definitely one of those because she liked the spooky things and I didn't like scary things, but like I said, when I was a kid, I so badly wanted to hang around my sister. So I did what I could to hang around her. Well, yeah. All that was mine when we did have cable. I remember Kenan and Kel too. Oh, I loved Kenan and Kel. Like, I was very happy as a kid when they got their own show. I Good Burger wasn't for me. Like, the Good Burger movie and the Good Burger skits wasn't for me, but like the Kenan and Kel show was so much fun. I remember as a kid, and I used to quote the orange soda all the time, and it would annoy the hell out of my parents. I used to just annoy them about orange soda, and they're like, "What are you talking about? What orange soda?" Oh my god. That show was so much fun. That one had a movie, didn't it? It wasn't like a big movie in theaters. It was like a TV movie, right? Pac says, I grew up with all the 90s shows. I was raised right. Yeah, no, I'm going like down memory lane. Back in my day when the street lights came on, that meant you went home. Yes, it did have a movie. Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I was like, God, I can't remember because it wasn't in theaters. But I was pretty sure it was a TV movie. There was another one. It had the woman who played Sabrina later, the teenage witch, Clarissa something. I remember that show. I didn't like that one as much. I liked her in Sabrina. I didn't like her so much in the Clarissa one. But I remember watching the Clarissa one because my sister liked it. My parents kept DVDs and all that, and we're like, nope, we're watching Peak only. Twin Peak? Sorry. That show's interesting. It's a little weird. Like, the first season's pretty interesting and good. Second season, I fell off almost immediately. You know who has a really good theme song from the 90s, but it's not a kid's show? X-Files. That was a really creepy song, but I like it. It's really pretty. Oh boy, I can't wait to draw the background. My favorite part. Clarissa explains a few things. I don't think that's the right title. It was something like that though, but I don't remember that being the full title. But yeah. It was definitely something along those lines. But like the annoying boy that always showed up at her window with like the ladder, and he's like, "Oh hey Clarissa," and I'm like, "You totally like her, but like this is still creepy. Go away." I didn't like that. I didn't like the kid at the window. Her brother was annoying too. I just didn't like the dudes in that show. I realize they were a problem. The dad didn't do anything. I don't remember. The dad was just kind of there, but. So it wasn't a 90s kids live action show, but I remember this one honestly surprised me with how clever it was. Ned's Declassified. Was not expecting that show. Wife says Clarissa explains it. Clarissa details one thing. Shut up. But yeah, no, like, Ned's Declassified, I wasn't expecting that show to be, like, yeah, I think it was Clarissa Explains It, but I wasn't expecting the Ned's Declassified to be, like, actually interesting. But again, I started, like, falling off of watching, you know, Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and everything kind of around that time. I remember having this DVD of a series from the 2000s called Trolls. They're a group of friends who were named after birthstones like Steven Universe, and they could remove their gem and cast spells with their bracelets. Never heard of it. Like, were they based off of like the Trolls dolls? And I'm not talking like the new movie ones. I'm talking like the old Trolls dolls from like the 80s that were all like naked babies with really poofed up hair. Clarissa explains it all. I think that's more the title, yeah. Yeah. I like how zombie drows mouths, they're like trapezoids. Clarissa gonna show you. Clarissa gonna give it to you. Yeah, except they weren't naked. They were dressed in Y2K. Oh my god, that's awesome. Yeah, I know Trolls, they were a new age based off of the Troll dolls. That makes sense with the Z. Y2K era was like, you know what'd be cool? If this was with a Z. I don't know why, but it was like, I guess it was the Y2K, that's why. Yeah, no, Z was like the edgy thing to do. It's hip with the kids. As we like hop on our wheelies and razors. Rufus putting Z's at the end of things to be cool with his nieces and nephews and Yuji. His nieces and nephews would love that so much. They would love that so much. Yuji's just gonna slink into the couch and be embarrassed. Pac says, I never understood Trolls sometimes, because the theme song was like, let's go shopping! And the plot was like, bro, I almost died. I mean, have you been shopping before? Not, it was because a lot of things at the time were like, let's go shopping, and it was kind of the way to get around, kind of like the bigwig people at the top of the studio. They're like, you know what it needs? Little girls to go shopping. We need to tell girls that little girls, all they want to do is shop. That's the only thing a little girl wants to do, is shop and do makeup. And like, because I was trying to like slap that on anything. And I hated, Y2K has like an interesting, oh, don't forget Mary Kate and Ashley. You can't. They were a staple. But like, they tried to like slap the whole like, girls go shopping, girls do Barbies, and I hated the Y2K for that. Cause I didn't want to do any of that. I'm not saying like I was a tomboy. I really badly wanted to be a tomboy, but like, really, I wasn't allowed to and everything. But even then, like, when I could try to be a tomboy, it didn't fit me because I didn't know what goth was. I didn't understand any of that until, like, probably I moved to more the Dallas area when I was a kid. And I started to learn that, oh, goth is a thing. You can be a goth. And because I thought that was like, oh, that's an adult thing, you can't do that as a kid. And I was like, well, why not? And I was like, oh yeah, you're right, why not? Women be shopping. Yeah, no, ugh. I hated that so much as a kid. I still hate it. Like, I don't, it's different. When I was a kid, I was very against it. Like, women shouldn't enjoy those things. Girls shouldn't like makeup, and girls shouldn't, unless it's like goth makeup. Like, girls shouldn't like any of those things. Pinks, whatever. Pinks, gross. Blah, blah. I was very much like that as a kid. And then I met a few friends that were very much girls. And they were just like, I like pink. I like doing my makeup. I like doing these cute little clothes. Look at my shoes. I just bought this. And they were some of the nicest people ever. And I had to like reevaluate myself and be like, you know what? That's totally okay. If they want to do it, I just don't like it when it's like, girls should use the pink razors only. Get out of here with your pink tax. Fluffy says, I was very sheltered without the internet for a long time. So I had my cringe RAR XD phase at 16. We all did. Little Tyrandom. Rolfocopter, rawr, I'm a dinosaur. I'm cringing at myself. Oh my god. Men be mogging! I forgot mogging was a thing. I don't remember exactly what it means. I just remember that word. Hold on. Why? Little me was so girly until my dad was like, my dear child, this is Metallica. Yeah, I never understood the whole, like, girls do this, boys do that. Never understood that. And B, where am I? I'm scared. Oh, and B, where am I? Yeah. It's tough. It was definitely tough and trying to figure out like where you stood, where you want to be, but like, again, I never criticize any woman if it's like, oh, you know, I would never get my hair that color, I would never have my nails that long. And I hear this a lot, even from like family members, so they're just like, I would never, like, I wouldn't want a woman to have that long of nails if I was with her. And I always look at them and go, they didn't do it for you. And they go, well, I don't like it. I'm like, cool, they didn't do it for you. And they're like, well, I just don't like the look of it. I'm like, neat. Again, they didn't do it for you. They did it for themselves. If they want to have their nails long, they're allowed to have their nails long. If they want to have tattoos, they didn't do it for you. They did it for themselves. Not for you. It's not none of your business. Like, I have to get on people's cases all the time. I'm like, if they want that, let them have it. It's not hurting anybody and they're having a good old time. I'm like, right? And I grew up in a very prude family. It's like, oh, you shouldn't have tattoos, and you shouldn't have piercings, and you shouldn't have blah, 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 blah. Bruh, my extended family tried so hard to make me a womb. No, just a womb. It's one word away from a womb, which makes it more terrifying of how society looks at us. I'm being cynical. But yeah, no, I do understand the whole, like, you should do that. That's not very ladylike. I'm like, I don't want to be a lady. Shut up, the send button is weird on mobile. No, I thought... I was just being facetious towards society, not you. Because that's literally how they do see women, unfortunately, and it's something I do talk about. I get into fights with people over it, too. Alrighty, I just realized what time it is. It is almost 9. Man, where did the time go? This was fun. I really do appreciate you guys having hung out with me as long as you did. If you stayed the entire time, I really appreciate it. If you can only hang out for a little bit, I still really appreciate it. Whether you guys were in chat or whether you guys were lurking, I do appreciate you guys coming and support me and whatnot. We do have a server that is open to 18 plus public. You guys are always welcome to join it if you want. No worries if you don't want. You just do !Discord on Twitch, and it'll pop up the link. But overall, I'm not sure when I'm gonna have my next stream. Like I said, I am generally busy trying to export files, and it takes a long time. I just really wanted to do some outlining just to kind of stress relief. So like, I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I will catch you guys on the server, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I will let you guys know when I am having my next stream. Till then, you guys be good people. Alrighty, I will catch you guys later. Good night.